everybody, I'm Saion Gupta, founder at Tennis Coder Kids, and today we are gonna learn how to flatten a list in Python. So let's get started. Okay, so here we have a code and I'm gonna explain it to you. So what we have a sample list over here in which we have different types of iterables like a set, for example like a dictionary, or we can have a set also in this, right? So we can have a set also in this 1, 2, 3, and like for example we can also have a tuple in this like 1, 2, 3, and it will perfectly flatten all iterables, right? So it has flattened our list, and we gave it the depth of 2, so it flattened in the depth of 2. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this in deep, but first of all I'm gonna explain what flattening is, right? Flattening is the process of basically having nested lists. Elements come outside that list into the main list, right? That is basically flattening. So let's see how we have implemented this. We have used recursion in this example. I've made a full video on recursion, do check that out. But over here we are defining flatten array, right? We are accepting an array, and if depth is not given, depth by default is 1, right? Then flatten array, so I've called this array, you could have called it list, right? Basically these are lists, but I've called them array because I'm more used to JavaScript, that's why. So flatten array is basically our empty list, right? Then we are looping for I in range length array, right? So that we are getting from the function call, right? So we are looping on that. We are checking if has attr. So basically we're checking if a certain element in the array, in the list is an iterable, meaning a dictionary, set, tuple, or a list. So if we find any of those, which can be any data type on which we can iterate, then this will return true. But if we find a number, string, or anything, number, string, or anything, like for example number, boolean, right? So anything like that, no, a primitive, right? So if you find a primitive in it, then this will return false. So right now we are looking at the first element, so I'll just remove this. So the first element is the dictionary, right? So has attr, we are checking on array I, that is the dictionary, and does it have the attribute iter, meaning is it an iterable? Yes, it is an iterable, so this is true. And depth is greater than 0. Yes, depth is greater than 0. We have passed 2, right? So flatten array plus equals to flatten array list array I depth minus 1. So this is recursion. Calling the same function inside that function is basically recursion. So you're calling flatten array inside flatten array, so that is basically recursion. So what we are exactly doing over here, we are doing flatten array plus equals to flatten array, right, and list array I. So this, for example, this, right, this is the 0th element, so we are passing this flatten array call this 0th element, and we are decreasing the depth by 1. So we are saying the depth is 1, right? Now it goes into the function call, this function call, and it checks, right? So now basically it checks, right? So it gets the array this, right? So it is getting this as an array, right? It is creating an empty flattened array, but that is local for it, right? And then it is looping on the on this dictionary that it got, right? So it is looping on this dictionary. It is checking if it has an iterable inside it. No, it does not have an iterable inside it right now, right? So it is going in else, and it is basically appending, pushing this in flattened array, right? So this is the local array that we got for this function call right over here, right? Now flattened array, this loop will be repeated 3 times, as there are 3 elements in our dictionary. So all the 3 are not iterables. So all the 3 will be appended. Basically the keys will be appended, right? As it is. And then in the end, flattened array will be returned. That will be appended to the main flattened array. So now in this flattened array we have in quotes 1, 2, 3, right? I hope you got it. Next it goes on this element. So then it checks in the loop if it has the next element is an iterator, iterable, yes, this is an iterable, and depth is greater than 0, yes, depth is 2 right now. Then flattened array that already has 1 comma 2 comma 3, right? Now in this add flatten array list array I depth minus 1. So depth was 2, depth is decreased by 1, right? And now we are converting this to a list and then passing it to our flatten array, right? So we are converting this to a list because we cannot access elements by their index in a set, right, or a dictionary, right? So we cannot access elements by their index, right? So we cannot access elements by their index in a set or a dictionary, right? So that's why we have to convert it to a list first so that we can access it by the index, right? So now what we are doing, we are passing flatten array this set, right, converting to a list, and then this set, and we are decreasing the depth by 1, so depth is 1 now, right? And then on this set we are looping on every element in this set, and we are checking if any element in this is an iterable. No, none of them is iterable, so it will, as it is, append all of these into the new flattened array, local flattened array that was created for this function call, right? Then that flattened array will be returned, and that will be added to our previous main flattened array. So now we will have 1 comma 2 comma 3, right? Pretty cool. Now let's see an example like this. When we will reach over here, it will check, right? So basically this is an iterable. So now it will go in, it will add, so we'll just add all these 1 2 3 1 2 3. So now after this, when we reach to this point, right? So now what will happen, we have done now the flattened array is this. Now in flattened array we are adding another function call, right, and we are passing this as a list, though it is already a list, right? And depth minus 1, so depth is 1, right? So now this is gone, right? This is gone into the new flattened array call, where a local flattened array for this call has been created, right? And in this we are just checking, it is looping on every element, that there are 3 elements, and it's checking if has iterator. So basically if one of these is an iterable, this is not and this is not, so we'll just add as it is, right? So in flattened array, okay, so this is not and this is not, right? So we'll add them afterwards. So now in flattened array, in the local flattened array we have 1 comma 2, right? But then we find this iterable, so it goes in here, it makes another local call. So there are 3 local so we have a flatten array in which we are calling flatten array, in which we are again calling flatten array, right? So now in flatten we are calling flatten array again, right? And this time another local variable has been created for it, and then it finds 4 and 5 that has been added in the local variable in the last call of flatten array, right? Now that flatten array has been returned to the previous flatten array that was also local, in which we have 1 comma 2, right? The previous flattened array had 1 comma 2, So now 4 comma 5 is also added to it. So now in the end, the flattened array with 1 2 3 4 1 2 4 5 is returned. That will be added to the main flattened array, that is this. I hope you are understanding this. So now we will have 1 what 1 2 4 5. Yep. So this is how it will go, right? And this is, oh, okay. So this is a perfectly working example, right? And if we give one in this, so it will go only till depth 1, right? So it won't flatten this or this, right? It is only till depth 1. For example, if we give 1.1 in this, what will happen? I want you to answer this in the comments, right? I want you to answer this in the comments. If I don't get any answer, then I'll tell you in the next video to the answer of this question, right? So I hope you give the answer in the comments, or I'll tell the answer in the next video. So see you guys in the next video. Thank you. I hope you like the video. Please subscribe.